So what's up, guys? What's going on? I am at Jenny's place in Plantanillo, and this is a pretty epic situation, a pretty epic story. And Jenny is from the States. She's from Louisiana. She graduated school to become a lawyer, ended up here in Costa Rica as a conservationist, and she's got some really awesome stories to share with y'all. And I think one of the most amazing things I've heard is she has set out to plant 1 million trees. And I think she's at 540,000, and I got to be honest with you, with the work I do back in the States, I'm proud about the amount of trees we're planting, and I have this dream of 1 million trees, but I think Jenny's way ahead of me, and I can't wait to get where she is one day. So she's doing some awesome work here. She's got some awesome knowledge to share with y'all. I can't wait to show you. Hold tight.
So hi, I'm Jenny Smith, and I've lived in Costa Rica now for 20 years. So welcome. This is Plantanillo, the district of Baru, and this is our beautiful food forest here. We have, I say we, me and the dog, we have right at 9 hectares. So that's about 25 acres. And my priority has been rainforest conservation and reforestation. So I was very careful when choosing my property and developing my living space to respect my ethics of not touching the jungle. So we have a gorgeous piece of jungle that we hold. There are no trails in it. There are no homes in it. Not even a little platform, because I'm saving it for the animals that don't have anywhere else to live. And I know that I'm really lucky to get to do that. And it's come with some sacrifices and some frugal choices in life that have required me to do without certain things, because I'm not developing to make money from my land. What I am doing is growing food, all mixed in. So I love the idea of reforestation having the matrix of a real forest. And as an agroforester, that's what I focus on, is mixing all the species together, so much high biodiversity, so that there's always some kind of food to eat. So, and then mixing it around so that I can just kind of walk around and do this. So like over here, I have just a squash vine, and my tomatoes there with the biodynamic concept of marigolds, with a papaya there, and my medicinal balsa plants there growing on top of my leach field septic system. So it all just begins to feel very natural, even though when I bought this place, it was a dried out dead cattle farm covered in vines. We didn't go far off the road. We didn't cut a deep road in, even though I wanted to. I wanted to get off that main road, but I was like, no, that's the jungle. That's no man's land. I don't need to be in there. I will stay closer to the road and plant a buffer zone against the road. And so I have a chocolate tree here, I have a lang-a-lang, I have bananas, I have pineapples down the hill. We just commented on the Javoticaba. There's mangoes all around. There's a grapefruit tree there. And then we're gonna walk down into the garden. I have my Madero Negro here, which we use to make homemade pesticides. This tuete is really good for nausea. All you have to do is take this and make a wad of it, and you can use it in the field. 2 handfuls are what is your dose for a medicinal plant, and I can just pour cold water on this tuete and drink it down, and nausea is gone. So passion flower vine, this is the Madero Negro, which is a super anti-pest, both for your garden, for melons, for anything with a hard outer.
Can also be used as an insecticide for animals.
Yes.
Defleeing.
Dogs. Yeah, totally.
You can give them a bath, or cats or dogs, with the Madero Negra soaking it in water.
It is. And for sarna that the dogs get, for the tartusas that come and root up your garden, you stick the actual sticks in. It happens to be one of the trees in Costa Rica that you can do by estaca, so it's really easy to share. And
living fence posts.
Living fence, that everything around is useful. Even what comes off this This is all being saved here for a reason. So we make lampshades and stuff out of just the refuse that comes from the palms. Even the palm leaves, we weave into baskets and lampshades and such. So really, if you get creative, just about every little thing around is useful. And the jungle is so generous, you know, both with medicine, food, and even beauty products. I have my Awapui shampoo ginger there, you know, so on and on and on. So if we walk down a bit, I'll show y'all my little garden. Jackfruit tree, which I'm actually gonna have to cut down because the center fuste, or the center trunk, see it? It's broken, and it broke when it was young, and the tree's never really fruited or given well. And so sometimes it just happens and we let it go and we let it go and we think it's gonna like get better and it doesn't. So I just have to go ahead, and I've been warning the tree because I do believe in secret life of plants. And so I've been warning it that I'm gonna cut it down and then I'm gonna plant a new one.
Amazing hardwood to build with.
Is it? Okay, Trey's telling me I can use you. Yes, because you're wonderful. Wonderful.
This will be a center post of the building.
We have our breadfruit, some coffee plants. I have this area. This is, you know, food for us. And when I started here, it was just junk and covered with vines, and there was a lot of spindly yuck. And so my style of preparing land is not to go in and cut it all down and then start over. It's to respect the understory and let it work with me, because in the understory is where all the magic is. It's where the pollinating plants are, that the bees and the lizards and butterflies come to. And so if we don't have them, then we don't have food. And if we don't have food, I mean, the list goes on and on. So mangoes, got my katuk here, and it's kind of dotted around different places. This is cardamom, spinach, cilantro. Of course, we want flowers, tomatoes, guani llama. So I have my medicinals, my papayas, my chaya, bananas. Everything's pretty much mixed around. This mandarina tree was so full of mandarinas last year that it like fell over. And the awesome thing about the jungle is we just kind of like propped it up and we're like, okay, let's do it again. And it did. So one of the things that goes on in Costa Rica is people over chop and they cut down real low, but like there's so much here. You know, these are nitrogen fixers, and you're even stepping on a wild cilantro plant right there. They say that this coyote cilantro is one of the best protectors from radiation. It is so high in chlorophyll. So whenever I see it, I just kind of munch on it and love on that. So
Got some Brazilian spinach here.
yeah, I love the Brazilian spinach. This is the sweep your house plant. I have some pigeon trees coming up. And, you know, various stages of development here in the little box garden. I resisted the box garden deal in Costa Rica because I'm from Louisiana. So there it's like, you know, we make rows and we till the earth. And I'm like, gardening in a box? Who does that? And I resisted and resisted. And then finally I was like, okay, build me a box. I'm happy with my box. You know, next time I'll do lower boxes. But, you know, was gifted a beautiful painting on the box, and that's fun. And love my arugula. I never have a time when I don't have some arugula or kale or mustard greens. I love purslane. This just comes up like a weed everywhere. That's good stuff. The dill is something kind of hard to find in Costa Rica, but I really enjoy dill. Basil, kale, amaranth. So I'm constantly collecting the amaranth seeds, and really a good grain for eating. Sweet potatoes. So this is our dormilona. And let's see, I pull a lot of it out, but it's this plant, highly medicinal. So it's a sensitive plant. If we find one open, we'll show y'all. When you touch it, it closes. And what it's used for is sleeping, So dormir is to sleep. So dormilona, they make a tea with it. Again, you want your 2 handfuls. You boil this for 15 minutes, the dormilona, and then you drink it. And it'll really... I have another medicinal there called tilo, which is also a relaxed tea. One of the cool things about the dormilona, which I have tried with babies, is you can take this, and for us big babies too, right? Anybody who has a toothache don't feel so good and wants to cry. And you just wad it up, stick it in like some chewing tobacco and suck on it and put it by your tooth and it'll numb that. So it's a really, really good medicinal, and it's very used by both, adults and children. And we have some good chop and drop. So I'm actually nitrogen fixing this zone. We do a lot of these chop and drops, this is one of my favorites, both because of the flowers and then the little seeds they look how cool they are. So these are going to get brown and have fun stuff in them. And then this is crotalaria. This is also a chop and drop. So in our projects, we'll let them get up like this. This is about 2 years old. Chop it down, cut it up, and then that's going to nutrify this zone. So little by little, you can see as my spinach gets tired here, and then this spinach is really green. I haven't chopped here in a while, so I'm just kind of letting it be, and then we'll come in. I'll dig up this, cut it low, and dig in here and add some fertile soil and compost, and then expand this garden into here. So we have more crotalaria, we have the mother-in-law's tongue, which is great for any kind of snake bite. Raya, I surf, so sometimes, you just get bitten up by stuff, and that really works. Menta, which really, that's yerba buena. Zorosi, which is also a blood cleaner. My compost piles are back there. And then fruit trees, we've got mangoes and manzana aguas and mangosteens, and then the natural natives that are also with us in our canopy, plus a few that I added in, the bloomers, like that jacaranda.
Can we talk about jackass bitters?
Yes, gavilana. This is great for amoebas and for any kind of parasites. So the Costa Ricans will do like 3 doses 1 day a month. And it will, if you go on it for a good bit of time, like a whole month, it will really attack parasites and amoebas. But it's not a plant that you get on and stay on. You come off it. This is fraisillo. This is another medicinal, and it's also good for the stomach and all kinds of discomfort in the belly. And then this is moringa, which has been sad. And I learned something really important about moringa. Now I'm always going to plant my moringa in the shade.
I like it under shelter here.
Yeah, or like under your food forest. So
Well draining soil like this.
yeah, it was good on a hill, and I have yucca coming up all through here. So this is all, been planted, and it'll keep coming up. And then that chaya needs to be cut and then just stuck in as estacas. There's some lemongrass there, and it just goes on and on. More bananas. Down there is a little trail that goes down to a hand-dug water well that we can rig up with a solar pump and then lift it and then gravity feed down. So that's a project that I'd like to do. We're on the aqueduct right now, and it's great water in Platanillo, and I'm super grateful for it. But I do want to have my own source, and then have it on a sustainable way to get it out. I want one of those bicycle pumps, so I will have that too, and I'll go down there and get my exercise. But it's important to think about, what is the energy you're going to use to get your water. So if you've got a well and you're pumping it with electricity or fossil fuels, you could be vulnerable on that one. So I want to work on that. And it was just really fun converting this little by little. I think that's really the way to go with your land. You have to get to know it, and it's a slow process of what you cut and what you keep. And by leaving the understory, you're keeping your soils covered and nutrified and fertile. And soils are not fertile in the rainforest. We only have a topsoil about that thick. So as soon as they're cleared and they're subject to the equatorial sun and then the driving rains, that soil's gone really quickly. But the trees make new soil, and the dropping of the biomass makes new soil. And then when we're adding in green manure, you know, the catuks and the crotolarias and the flamijas and the tiny poros and the pigeon peas and the different beans, we're just, we're giving our food while we're also giving food to the soil. And I think that it's just easy when you do it that way. You always have food. I don't work in my garden. I don't work in there. If I worked in my garden, I would have so much going on, but I'm always working in other people's gardens. My garden is pretty much the last one that gets tended, but I tend to have what I need, and it is just me living here for now, and but I always have friends around, and I'm always sharing. You know, if I have friends going on a surf trip, my friends like, bring all your mustard greens. I'm like, yes, they need to be harvested. Yes, yes, yes. So it's fun to work with nature and listen, and when I come down here early in the morning, there's always a deer here, and it's eating my baby squash, and it's eating my cherry tomatoes, and I don't care. And I don't care, because that moment of interaction with that deer just, you know, this is why I moved to Costa Rica, to be able to live with nature and not have to dominate her, because I can't, and it'd be foolish to even try. And you know, I do believe in keeping the area around the home kind of clear. You know, I don't have lawn beds around the house because I'm not inviting a place for snakes to hide. And I don't have any big trees right over the house. And I didn't cut any down either because it was a coffee farm. So I understand that occasionally we have to cut a few trees to make room for a home, and that's totally fine because most everyone here is planting more. So, you know, it's not about feeling guilty about what we cut. It's about getting some advice first and making sure that what we're cutting isn't the last really special Cristobal in the area, or some seeding tree for some special animal that you didn't even know, and you just whacked it because somehow it felt easier to cut it all down and then come back. Those soils become what we call a hot skillet effect, and that's contributing to the broken hydrological cycle with putting out too much hot water vapor when rains hit hot soils on the equator that have been cleared. It's just wreaking havoc on our global climate. What we do on the equator is absolutely driving global climate. So I think if you come to anywhere on the equator, whether it be Bali or Costa Rica or Nicaragua or Panama, you have an extra special obligation to find out what's appropriate in the rainforest and then to act accordingly, you know, because we do have a lot of people that do know how to do it slowly and work with nature instead of come in and just bring the tractors in and clear it all away and then plant a few non-native orange trees and call it permaculture. And so, you know, I think permaculture is a lifestyle, right? And it's how little energy can we put in and receive the most out, and how can we work with each other and work with our neighbors and respect our neighbors and understand that everything going on with our neighbors is actually going on with us. And that everything going on with the animals, who are also our neighbors, is actually going on with us. And that interaction with the deer in the morning and the fruit fly who wants to fly up my nose is actually pretty amazing and fun. You know, so if I wanted spick and span and cookie cutter, I would have stayed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you know, and I'd have been a lawyer and I'd be raking in the money and have on a fancy suit today. So I'm happy. Woo! So yeah, we're gonna invite y'all to go see the tree nursery and hear about why I'm really in Costa Rica. So you can contact me at jennifer@communitycarbon.trees.org. That's our website, and we'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Pound dirt!